The sun was rising over the Pacific when Captain Daniel Holt stepped onto the deck of the Unis relief vessel, Atlanta. The sky was painted in soft orange and pink, but he barely noticed. His thoughts were far away, on a small colony station, orbiting a cold dead moon on the edge of known space. "Final check?" he asked, looking at the officer beside him. "All systems green," replied Ensign Ryan Bell, holding a data pad. "We're set to jump in 2 hours." Daniel gave a slow nod. This mission had been planned for months. The outer colony of Erebus Station had suffered a massive system failure. Their life support had collapsed, and they had no way to fix it. Thousands of people were suffering. The United Nations Interstellar Service, the UNIS, had responded with a humanitarian convoy. Supplies, medicine, engineers, all sent to help those in need. It was supposed to be a simple mission: arrive, deliver aid, leave with thanks. But something about it felt wrong. He had read the reports. The colony's collapse wasn't caused by age or accident. Someone had hacked into the core systems. Someone had shut down the oxygen flow, cut off power, and left thousands to suffer. The UNI's command said it was sabotage, but no one knew who did it. Still, orders were clear: go in with peace, bring hope, save lives. 2 hours later, the Atlanta jumped through the Stargate and arrived near Erebus Station. The station looked like a broken lantern floating in the dark. Most of its lights were out. Only a few flickered weakly along its hull. "This doesn't look right," said Lieutenant Mia Harper from the bridge. She was young but sharp, and Daniel trusted her gut. "Contact them," he said. Ensign Bell tapped his console. No response. "Comms are down." "Visual feed?" A grainy image came up on the main screen. Inside the docking bay, there was movement. Figures in suits. Some wore the uniforms of the colony workers. Others were dressed differently, armored, armed. "Those aren't civilians," said Mia. Daniel stood up straight. "Bring us in. Keep weapons hot but offline. I want to talk first." The Atlanta docked slowly. The moment the connection locked, the crew prepared to disembark. A team of medics, engineers, and security officers lined up behind the hatch. Then the silence broke. A burst of gunfire tore through the hatch before it even opened. Sparks flew, alarms screamed, and people dropped. "Ambush!" someone shouted. Daniel dove behind cover as bullets punched through the metal. Blood stained the floor. One of the engineers fell with a scream. "Return fire!" Mia yelled. Security teams opened up, shooting back through the gaps. The attackers were fast, well-trained. They moved like soldiers. "These aren't colonists," said Ryan, voice shaking. "They're fighters." Daniel grabbed his radio. "This is Captain Holt. We are under attack. All units, fall back to the ship." But the attackers were already inside. Gunfire echoed through the halls. Smoke filled the air. People ran in panic. Daniel fought his way toward the command center, trying to reach the bridge. Miles away, on the station, someone watched from a control room. A man in a black uniform pressed a button. "Begin Phase 2. Outside, hidden panels slid open on the station's hull. Missile launchers turned toward the Atlanta and fired. Back on board, Daniel saw the explosion on the view screen. "We've been hit," shouted the pilot. The ship shuddered. Warning lights flashed red. "Life support failing on decks 3 and 4. Another voice called. Daniel looked around. Bodies lay scattered. The mission was meant to save lives. Instead, it had become a massacre. He clenched his fists. Someone had tricked them, used their kindness as a weakness, and now, humanity would remember that name, Erebus. Not as a place in need, but as the place where trust died. Miles away from the chaos inside the command core of Erebus Station, Mia Harper dragged Ryan Bell behind a control panel. Bullets had torn through the hallway just seconds before. Now they were alone, surrounded by flashing lights and the sound of alarms. "You okay?" she asked, breathing hard. Ryan looked pale. "I think so." They had barely made it out of the docking bay. When the ambush started, most of their team was cut down before they could react. Captain Holt was still somewhere on the ship, trying to hold the line. But things were falling apart fast. Mia checked her radio. Static. No signal. "Comms are dead," she said. Ryan tapped at his wrist pad. So are the station's internal systems. Someone shut them down from here. He pointed at the main console. Logs were still running, lines of data scrolling past. This wasn't random, he whispered. They planned this. Murmurs echoed through the halls outside. Boots on metal. Approaching. Mira pressed her ear to the door. We need to move. They slipped through maintenance tunnels, avoiding the main corridors. The station felt different now. Cold. Empty. Like it had been hollowed out. They reached a small server room and locked the door behind them. Ryan pulled up the logs. Look at this. Mira leaned over his shoulder. Files filled the screen. Documents. Reports, maps. Erebus wasn't just asking for help, Ryan said. They were hiding something. He scrolled through images. Schematics of weapons, strange ships, alien tech. They built these, he said. Not for war. For defense. Mira frowned. Against who? Ryan didn't answer right away. He clicked on a final file. It showed a massive shape moving through space. Not human, not friendly. They knew something was coming, he said. Before they could say more, the door rattled. Someone was trying to break in. Hide, Mia whispered. They ducked behind the servers as the door burst open. Two figures entered, wearing black armor. One held a rifle, scanning the room. Clear, he said after a moment. The second figure stepped forward. He wore a commander's insignia. Find them, he said. Alive, if possible. Then they left, closing the door behind them. Mira and Ryan stayed silent, hearts pounding. We have to get this info out, Ryan whispered. Mira nodded. We'll use the emergency pod. They waited until the footsteps faded, then moved again. The station was collapsing around them, fires burning, power flickering. People ran in all directions. Some were fighting back, others were trying to escape. They reached the emergency bay. Only one pod remained. Go, Mia said. Ryan hesitated. What about you? I'll be right behind you. He climbed in. Mia sealed the hatch. Just as she turned to follow, gunfire cracked behind her. Bullets tore into the wall. She dove behind. Cover! Heart slamming against her chest. A squad of armored fighters stormed the bay. She grabbed a pistol from a fallen officer and fired back. One attacker dropped. The others took cover. Mira rolled across the floor, reaching the pod controls. With a push of a button, the launch sequence began. The pod doors closed with a hiss. Launch! She shouted. Outside, the pod detached and shot into space. Inside, Ryan watched as the station burned behind him. Then everything went dark. Back on the station, Mika was trapped. She was outgunned, outnumbered, but she wasn't done yet. She pulled a small drive from her suit and inserted it into the pod's backup system. If she couldn't escape, maybe the truth could. She sent one last message. Coordinates, files, warnings. Then the attackers closed in, and the screen went black. The news spread fast. Erebus Station was gone. The humanitarian convoy had been ambushed. Most of the crew was dead. Only one survivor had been found floating in space. A nameless escape pod picked up by a passing freighter. No one knew who was inside. Back on Earth, the silence didn't last long. Governments held emergency meetings. News anchors shouted over each other. Families mourned. And somewhere deep inside a military base hidden behind mountains, General Karen Porter read every report she could find. She was a tall woman with short hair and tired eyes. She had spent most of her life fighting wars not of her making. Now, another one was coming. This wasn't just an attack, she said to the officers in front of her. It was a message. One of them, a younger man named Major Carl Newman, asked, "What kind of message?" "That we're weak when we try to help." She stood up from her chair and walked to the window. Outside, ships were being prepped for launch. Fighters lined up like soldiers waiting for orders. "We've always believed that peace comes before force," she said. "But sometimes peace gets people killed." The room stayed quiet. Porter turned back. "We need someone who understands both They all knew who she meant. Commander Ethan Cole. He was already on his way. Cole arrived at the base within hours. He wore a dark uniform with clean boots and sharp eyes. He didn't speak much. He didn't have to. His record did the talking. 20 years in the field, 10 major campaigns, 7 medals, 3 wounds, 1 broken marriage. He stepped into the war room and looked at the reports. "Who did this?" he asked. "No confirmed group," said Newman. "But we believe it was a joint effort. Some colonists, some off-worlders, they had high-grade weapons, good training." Cole flipped through the pages. "No demands?" "None." He nodded slowly. "Then they weren't trying to negotiate." "They wanted blood," Porter said. Cole looked at her. "And now they'll get more. A plan was made, Operation Retribution. Its goal, send a clear signal that attacking humanity would come with a cost." Cole was given command of a strike force, 6 corvettes, 200 soldiers. Full authority. His orders were simple. Find those responsible. Make them pay. He read every file he could find on Erebus Station, watched the few videos left, studied the survivors' reports. Something about the mission still felt wrong. There were rumors, whispers about something else out there, something bigger. But none of that mattered now. Orders were orders. He stood on the bridge of the Eunice Resolution, watching as the fleet formed up behind him. "Set course for Castor Outpost," he said. That was where the surviving attackers had fled, a small colony near Erebus's old orbit. "They won't see us coming," said his second-in-command, Lieutenant Dana Fields. Fields was young but smart. She had fought in 3 battles already and survived each one. She didn't talk much, but when she did, people listened. Cole looked at her. "Let's make sure they remember us." The fleet jumped through the Stargate. Behind them, Earth watched. News feeds showed footage of the burning station. Families cried. Politicians gave speeches. But no one knew what was coming next. Cole didn't care about politics. He didn't care about the cameras or the history books. He only cared about doing what needed to be done. And when they reached Castor Outpost, he wouldn't be asking questions. He'd be giving answers, with fire and steel and force. The fleet dropped out of warp just outside Castor Outpost's orbit. The Eunice Resolution sat at the front, its hull dark against the stars. Behind it, 5 corvettes formed a tight line, ready for war. Commander Ethan Cole stood on the bridge, arms crossed. His face was hard, his eyes colder. "Any sign of movement?" he asked. Lieutenant Dana Fields checked her screen. "We're picking up life signs, at least 1,000 people down there." Cole didn't blink. "They knew we were coming." Fields looked at him. "You think they're waiting to fight?" "They wouldn't have run if they weren't scared," he said. "But fear doesn't mean surrender." He turned to the comms officer. "Send the message." A signal was broadcast across the outpost. A single voice, clear and cold. "This is Commander Ethan Cole of the United Nations Interstellar Service. You are under orders to stand down. Open your comms, lower your weapons, await inspection." Silence followed, then static, and then a voice answered. "We didn't attack you." Cole stepped closer to the speaker. "You harbored those who did." "No," the voice said. "We tried to stop them." Cole didn't respond. He gave a small nod to the weapons officer. "Begin orbital strike." The first wave came fast. Missiles fell from the sky like fireflies, each one aimed at known military positions. Explosions lit up the surface in bright flashes. Bunkers collapsed. Turrets melted into twisted metal. On the ground, panic spread. People ran through the streets, some screaming, others shouting orders. Fighters scrambled to launch ships, but most never made it off the ground. Inside a command bunker, a man watched the attacks unfold on a cracked screen. "They're not holding back," he muttered. Beside him, a woman stared at the footage from Erebus Station. "We told them not to do it. We told them this would happen." The man clenched his fists. "Now we pay for their mistake." "Back on the Resolution?" Cole watched as the bombardment continued. Enough, he said after 10 minutes. Drop the teams. 6 dropships tore through the smoke-filled sky, landing near the main compound. Soldiers poured out, guns raised. They moved fast, clearing buildings, taking cover behind walls. Cole led the charge himself. His boots hit the ground hard. Smoke filled the air. Fires burned in the distance. The smell of burnt metal and blood already hung thick. Clear the path, he ordered. Gunfire cracked through the ruins. Resistance fighters fired from broken windows and hiding spots. Some charged head-on, yelling in anger and fear. The Unis soldiers didn't flinch. They shot back with precision. No hesitation. No mercy. One fighter lunged at Cole with a knife. He caught the arm mid-swing and broke it with a twist. Then he put a bullet in the man's chest. They pushed forward. By nightfall, the compound was theirs. Inside, they found what they were looking for: survivors. Dozens of them. Hands above their heads, eyes wide with fear. Cole walked through the room, scanning the faces. "Where are the ones who attacked Erebus?" he asked. A man stepped forward. "Most of them died when you hit us. The rest ran deeper underground." Cole looked at his team. "Search every inch of this place." Soldiers spread out. Rooms were torn apart, computers hacked, files copied. Hours later, they found something unexpected. A hidden lab beneath the compound. Inside, screens showed the same alien shapes that Mia Harper had seen on Erebus: ships, weapons, warnings. Fields read the files aloud. They were building defenses, not for war, for survival. Cole stared at the images. Against what? Fields didn't answer. She couldn't. Cole felt something shift inside him. Doubt. But he pushed it away. Orders were orders. He turned to the prisoners. "Take them all in." As the survivors were dragged away, one of them looked at him. "You think you won?" Cole didn't answer. Outside, the fires still burned, and far away, in the darkness between stars, something else was watching, waiting, learning. And now, maybe, hunting. Commander Ethan Cole sat alone in the command room aboard the Unis Resolution. The lights were dim. Outside the window, Castor Outpost burned under a sky filled with smoke. The mission was over. The survivors were locked up. The files had been copied. But something still didn't feel right. He looked at the screen in front of him. Lines of data scrolled past. Reports, logs, warnings. The files recovered from the hidden lab told a story that didn't match what he had been told back on Earth. Erebus Station hadn't been planning an attack. They had been trying to warn everyone. The files showed messages sent weeks before the collapse, signals picked up from deep space. Unknown ships moving through the void. No flags, no call signs, just silence and speed. One log entry stood out, a voice recording from Erebus's chief scientist. "If you're hearing this, then we're already gone. We tried to tell them. We tried to prepare, but they wouldn't listen. We saw it first near the edge of the system. Big, fast, not human. We don't know what it wants, but if it comes for us, it will come for you too." Cole played the message again. His jaw tightened. This wasn't just some rogue colony hiding weapons. They had been scared, trying to survive. And now they were all dead. He closed the file and leaned back in his chair. His hands felt heavy, his thoughts heavier. There was a knock at the door. Lieutenant Dana Fields stepped inside. She looked tired but alert. "You've seen the files," she said. Cole nodded. "They weren't the enemy," she added. "No," he agreed, "but someone made us believe they were." Fields walked closer. "You going to report this?" Cole didn't answer right away. He looked at the report one more time. Then he shut the screen off. "I already did," he said. "And I got my orders." Fields frowned. "What does that mean?" "It means General Porter knows the truth," he said. "And she doesn't care." She took a breath. "So what do we do now?" Cole stood up slowly. "We finished the job." He walked past, her and toward the bridge. Back on Earth, the public saw Castor as a victory. News feeds showed images of captured fighters, burning buildings, and UNIS soldiers raising the flag. Politicians praised the mission. Families cried for revenge. But behind closed doors, things were different. General Porter met with top officials in a darkened war room. A single screen showed the same alien images Cole had found. Did he see it? One of them asked. Porter nodded. Yes, and he knows the truth. Then he's a risk, another said. Porter didn't argue. He's still useful. For how long? She looked at the screen. Until we need him to disappear. Back on the Resolution, Cole stood on the bridge watching the stars. Fields joined him. We're not done, are we? She asked. Cole shook his head. No. This was only the beginning. She looked at him. Then what's next? He turned to face her. We find out who really attacked Erebus. And if it wasn't them? He looked back at the stars. Then we might be fighting the wrong war. Fields thought about it. Then she nodded. What do you need me to do? Cole gave a small smile. Stay sharp. Watch the shadows. Outside, the fleet prepared for departure. Castor Outpost faded behind them, but somewhere far beyond the edge of known space, something else was moving. Something bigger. Something darker. And it was getting closer. The UNIS Resolution left Castor Outpost behind, its hull scorched from battle, its crew tired but alert. Commander Ethan Cole stood on the bridge, arms crossed, watching the stars as they stretched into long lines during warp travel. They were heading home, but he didn't feel like celebrating. Behind him, Lieutenant Dana Fields watched his face. You're not going to tell them, she said. Cole didn't turn. No. Fields sighed. You think they already know? I know they don't care, he replied. The truth was buried under politics, fear, and control. The people back on Earth wanted revenge. They wanted heroes and villains, not gray areas, not warnings from dead colonies. We saw the files, Fields said. We saw what Erebus found. Cole finally looked at her. And if we say it out loud, we become a problem, she frowned. So what now? Just pretend it never happened? He walked toward the command chair. Not yet. He called for Ensign Lena Torres, their best comms officer. She arrived quickly, eyes sharp behind dark glasses. Sir, she asked, I need you to pull up the last known signal path from Erebus Station, he said. Before the attack. Torres tapped at her. It went deep, far beyond the outer system. Cole nodded. Take us there. Fields blinked. What? That's off course. I know, he said. Run silent, no logs, no reports. Torres hesitated. Sir, if we do this, we'll be breaking orders. Cole met her eyes. Then make sure we don't get caught. The ship changed course. 3 days later, they reached the edge of known space. Nothing was supposed to be here. Just cold void and drifting rocks. But then something appeared on the sensors. Unknown object, Torres said. Big. Cole stood. Visual. The screen lit up with a grainy image. A shape floated in the black. Massive. Silent. Wrong. It wasn't human. Its surface looked alive, moving, shifting, like it was breathing. Long tendrils extended from its body, trailing behind it like broken wires, Fields whispered. What the hell is that? No one answered. Torres checked the readings again. No power signature, no heat, but it's moving. Cole stepped closer to the screen. How long has it been here? No way to know, she said, but judging by the decay on nearby debris, maybe weeks, months. He turned to Fields. Send a team down. She looked shocked. To that thing? We need answers. Fields didn't argue. She gave the order. An away team suited up. A small shuttle launched and flew toward the unknown craft. As they got closer, the silence felt heavier. Like space itself was holding its breath. One of the engineers, a quiet man named Kyle Norton, spoke through comms. It's not just floating, he said. It's watching. Cole frowned. Watching what? Norton didn't answer right away. Then his voice came back, shaky. Us. Suddenly, lights flickered across the alien hull. Shapes moved inside. Not people, not machines. Something else. The shuttle rocked as if pulled by an unseen force. Get them out of there, Cole shouted. The pilot tried to break free, but the shuttle stopped responding. Then, just as fast as it started, the pull vanished. The shuttle drifted back. Cole waited. Then Norton's voice came back. It knows we're here. Cole looked at Fields. She whispered, We just woke something up. Back on the Resolution, the crew stared at the screen in silence. That thing wasn't just passing through. It had come looking for something, or someone. And now, it knew humanity was watching, too. Commander Ethan Cole stood on the bridge of the Eunice Resolution, staring at the alien ship on the screen. His stomach felt heavy. He had seen war. He had seen death. But this was different. This was fear. He turned to Lieutenant Dana Fields. Get me everything we have on that thing, now. Fields nodded and ran to the comm station. Ensign Lena Torres worked fast beside her, pulling up every scan, every reading, every signal they had captured. There's nothing like it in our database, Torres said. It doesn't match any known species or tech. Cole looked back at the screen. The alien ship didn't move, not yet. But he could feel it watching, thinking. Send a full report to Earth, he said. Torres hesitated. Sir, if we do that, Command will shut us down. Cole knew she was right. General Porter had made her position clear. They were to return home. Forget what they saw. Let the truth die with Erebus. But now there was no more room for silence. No, he said. We don't send anything. Fields looked surprised. Then what do? We stay. They watched the alien craft for 2 more days. No movement, no signals. Just silence. Then, without warning, it vanished. No explosion, no warp jump. One moment it was there, the next, gone. Like it had never been there at all. Back on Earth, the world was moving on. News feeds showed images of the Castor mission as a victory. Politicians praised the bravery of the Eunice forces. Families found comfort in revenge, but not Cole. He returned to Earth under heavy scrutiny. His delay near the edge of space raised questions. His refusal to follow orders drew lines. General Porter met him in a quiet room inside a military base. You went off course, she said. I found something, he replied. She stared at him for a long time. Then she sighed. I know. Cole blinked. You know? We've seen signs before, she said. Small ones. Strange readings. Lost ships. We buried them all. He sat down. Why? Because people aren't ready, she said. And because we don't know how to fight it. Cole looked at her. Then we need to learn. Porter shook her head. Not now. Not you. She slid a file across the table. It had his name on it. A list of charges, unauthorized missions, breach of command. This ends here, she said. Retire quietly or face court-martial. Cole read the file slowly. Then he closed it and handed it back. I understand. A week later, he was gone. His name disappeared from active records. His face left the news. To the public, he was a hero who faded into peace. But in the shadows, he was still working. He met with old friends, soldiers, scientists, pilots, people who had seen too much to forget. Together they started something new. A hidden network. A quiet force. A plan. Because one day the alien ship would come back, and when it did, humanity would need more than weapons. It would need the truth, and it would need people willing to fight for it. Far away, in deep space, something stirred. The darkness between. Stars shifted, something was coming, and this time Earth wouldn't be ready.